Hello guys, and welcome to my review for Star Wars The Force Awakens. So, this is my Star Wars channel. So, basically what that is I have another YouTube channel where I do movie, games, reviews, and other things. And because I'm such a huge fan of Star Wars, and I've been thinking about so many Star Wars videos to do, I was like, why don't I just make a Star Wars channel? So I have. So basically what this channel will consist of will be, obviously, I will be doing a review for all of the Star Wars films. I will be doing, obviously, movie news, so if they announce any news, I'll be doing it. I'll probably talk about the Han Solo casting, maybe, because it's been a couple days, and I have some thoughts on it, so I may talk about that. Basically anything, and I will be doing a weekly review of Star Wars Rebels when it starts again next week, so I'm excited for that. I was going to do a trailer review for the Rebels trailer, because it's fantastic, but I don't want to. I'm just going to review the TV show instead. So, yeah, let's get started with The Force Awakens. So, obviously, The Force Awakens is a new Star Wars movie. It came out Thursday, 17th of December in the UK. I think it came out on the 18th in America. I've seen it 3 times now. Not in IMAX yet. I am planning to go. And each time I see it, it gets better and better. And there are things in The Force Awakens that you don't notice the first time you see it. And I think the first time that I saw it, there was so much hype around it, and there was so much that you wanted to see, that it kind of, you were kind of on edge. You didn't know what was going to happen, so you were on edge a bit. But because I already know what happens, I can relax and just watch it. And I think that's probably why each time I watch it, it gets better. Now, a film that can somehow make you go and see it 3 times within 2 weeks is a film that I think is doing a great job, and I still want to see it again. So it's the thing that the best thing I could say about this movie is it is incredibly well paced. There's nothing like in the prequels where it slows down and spews out exposition. There's nothing like that. It doesn't just stop. There is a couple of scenes where the pacing slows down a bit, but it's only for about 10 to 15 minutes, and it's actually quite interesting. So, it's incredibly well-paced. Probably one of the most well-paced films I've seen in quite a while, because it balances the talky stuff with the action and everything else. So I have to admit, it's incredibly well-paced. You're never bored whatsoever. So, brilliant positive. Also, just in this review, there will be spoilers at some point. I will just say spoilers before I talk about them. So if you haven't seen the film, do not watch when I say spoilers. So yes, so obviously the newcomers are Daisy Ridley, Oscar Isaac, and John Boyega. And I have to admit, they're all fantastic. They're not Oscar nomination fantastic, but they are so good. Oscar Isaac as Poe. Poe is the X-Wing pilot. He's basically the Han Solo, but an X-Wing pilot version of Han Solo. He's not a rebel, but poor choice of words. He's not a scoundrel, is the word I was looking for. He's just an X-Wing pilot. He's got the witty humour, like Han Solo. He's a great character. He's quite funny. And I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to spoil anything, obviously. I'll get more into the characters in the spoiler review, in the spoilers section. I just want to give you my thoughts at the moment. So Rey, played by Daisy Ridley, is fantastic. She's a brilliant actress and plays the role perfectly. I have to admit, she is really good. There are a couple of times where she delivers her lines a bit poorly, but I wouldn't say they're, like, stale. They're just overly enthusiastic, which is great to actually see actors in a film enthusiastic about what they're doing. And there's no one better than John Boyega about enthusiasm. Jesus Christ. This guy is the most charismatic person I've seen in a film in quite some time. I'm not going to lie. The first scene, I'm not going to spoil it, the scene where, actually no, I'll talk about it in spoilers, but there are some fantastic back and forth dialogue between all these characters, and I have to admit, it's an incredibly funny film. There are some hilarious moments in this film. It's the funniest Star Wars film, I would say. I would say the thing that I like about the Star Wars humor is it's not going out of their way to be funny. It's humor played off by the characters instead of jokes and trying to be funny. It's literally just humor within the chemistry of the characters, and I really like that. There's a couple of times where the humor didn't land for me. There's a couple of times where I felt they could have added some tension, which would have made the scene better, but instead they had some humor in it. But the humor was never terrible. It never brought you out of the film in any way. I just thought maybe they could make the scene a bit more tense, to maybe make the scene a bit better. So there's some issues with the film that a lot of people brought up. The main ones being the plot is very similar to the original trilogy, which yes it is. There's the Starkiller base, there's everything. Basically it does copy a lot of plot points from the from the original trilogy. I would never say it bothered me to the point where I was brought out of the film, where I was like, I don't like this. I was, when the Starkiller base appeared, I was kind of like, I already knew it was in the film because of the poster. I was kind of like, really? But I was kind of like, really? But okay, I'll just, whatever. It didn't bother me, and there are a lot of plot point, the Starkiller base plot point. Actually, no, I'll go into it in the spoilers as well. I really don't want to spoil this film for anyone. There are a lot of plot points that are similar, to the point where I think some people will be annoyed by it. I recognised that it was similar. I was like, that's kind of annoying, but it never bothered me to the point where I didn't like the film. Now, an interesting video that was uploaded by Chris Stuckman, the Analyzed Review, brings up some fantastic points. This film does copy a lot of plot points from the originals, and a lot of people said that the prequels were better because it's originality. Now, I agree that the prequels and The Phantom Menace had a lot more original ideas. They had the pod race, they had a lot of new characters, new designs of characters. I do agree that there was a lot more originality in the film. In terms of plot, it's very formulaic and pretty similar to the original trilogy. Now, I think the best thing that The Force Awakens does is it actually feels like Star Wars. It feels like the sci-fi fantasy soap opera that everyone pretty much grew up with. Something that you can have fun, it's funny, it's not boring, there's emotional scenes, there's humour, and it immerses you into this world. And I think that's the thing that the prequel didn't. It has really boring scenes about the council. They can make those scenes interesting, but they didn't. The characters and the actors were very bad. The CGI was, like, I don't mind CGI. I do not mind CGI. CGI can enhance scenes. The CGI in the prequels, though, is so obviously bad that it takes you out of the film. You go, oh my god, why is that looking like that? And I think that's the thing that the original trilogy did fantastically. They used models, and models are actual physical things. You can hold them. They look real. And seeing them on screen, they actually look real when they immerse you into the film. And if you're not immersed into the Star Wars movie, then what's the fucking point? If you're not immersed into the world, then you don't believe anything that's happening. And that's the thing that the prequels did very poorly, apart from the pod race scene, because that was very good. The prequels didn't immerse you into the film. And in terms of originality, the only real original thing that they had were the characters. So, Darth Maul, General Grievous, the pod race scene, not a character, but still original. The thing with the original characters is they had some cool designs, but that's it. They looked cool, and that was it. The thing that I love about The Force Awakens is every character is an actual character. They actually are people. They're not, like, one-dimensional characters that don't have anything to them. You care about these characters. Kylo Ren feels like an actual person. He's not another Darth Vader. He's not another generic villain like General Grievous and Darth Maul. He's an actual human. And I think that's the best thing that the Force Awakens did, is they made you feel more emotional, or made you feel for the characters a bit more than the prequels did. And I cared a lot about these characters. There are a lot of things as well. People saying Rey's a Mary Sue. I can agree to a certain point. She does get out of a lot of situations, but she still gets a beating. And the thing at the end, not going to say it, because obviously leave it to the spoilers. But I love all the characters. Obviously, the original cast are there. Harrison Ford plays a big part, and he's great. Seeing him again with Chewie is unbelievable. The opening crawl gave me goosebumps. The score in this film is utterly brilliant. I know a lot of people don't like it that much. I love it. It's actually one of my favourite Star Wars soundtracks. The thing for me, a brilliant score is something that you don't notice. It's subtle, but it lifts the scenes up. I guarantee you, if you watch any of the scenes in this film and you take away the score, the scene wouldn't be as good. I feel like the thing that I didn't like about the prequels and E.T., the score by John Williams, is it's so overpowering, it kind of overpowers everything else that's happening. You're watching these scenes and the music's great, but it's so overpowering of the scene that it kind of takes away everything. But this soundtrack is quite subtle, and it's more in the background, and it lifts the scene up and works perfectly with it. Rey's theme is beautiful. The theme at the end is brilliant. It gave me goosebumps, I'm not gonna lie. Kylo Ren's theme is utterly brilliant. But it combines old scores with new ones to create this fantastic score, and I love it. It's so good. CGI is very good. It's about 30-70%, I would say. The Falcon, the air battles with the X-Wing, TIE Fighters, Falcon chase and everything, that's CGI. Maz Kanata's CGI and Snoke's CGI. Everything else is practical. All the sets when they're in the Starkiller base is practical. The costumes are practical. They're actually on practical locations. And that makes you feel like this world is actually real. So, great job for not overdoing the CGI. Another thing is there are a couple of plot holes here and there that a lot of them are just petty plot holes that don't really stop your enjoyment of the film and don't really mean anything. And, I mean, a lot of people are annoyed about this film because of, like, the plot holes, and the story isn't as complex. And it's like, Star Wars has never been this complex, intricate story. It's a pretty formulaic story about a hero. That's all it is. And people are trying to build it up to be something more complex when really it isn't. And that's not an insult, that's what it is. That's what it tried to do, and that's what it did perfectly. And that's what this film does as well. There are some plot points that you can kind of say, well, why did that happen? But a lot of them are things that are in every other film ever made. And I was having an argument with this person where he hated the film because the Millennium Falcon door was open. Now, if that's literally the only negative that you can think of this film, then that means this film is really good. If you can only think of one thing that is negative, and that the Millennium Falcon door was open, what the fuck? That's so... it's petty. But saying all these great things about the film, there are some things I didn't like. Obviously, the plot is a bit of a copy of A New Hope. I do wish that the next film is more original, but I feel like The Force Awakens is trying to bring you back into the franchise. It's trying to wash your mouth of the prequels and bring you back into the series that you love, and I feel like it did that perfectly. I do agree, the plot points are a bit similar. There are some scenes where I felt that they could have been a bit more tense. There are some lines of dialogue that weren't delivered too great. There's some times where, even though I love the score, there are some times where I feel like they could play it a little bit louder. But other than that, I love this film. It's got a fantastic script. The lighting in certain places is fantastic. There are so many little details in the background. If you look into the background of any shot, you will see something that you've not seen before, and I love the attention to detail. And the action sequences are well done. The lightsaber battle in this movie is so much better than Darth Maul because it's actually tense. It's a tense lightsaber battle where they don't really know what they're doing. They're kind of like winging it and just swinging the lightsaber. It's not this highly choreographed nonsense that is only good because of the score. And that's the thing that this movie does great. It's not relying on certain things. Everything melds together to create this fantastic film. Is it the best Star Wars movie? No. A New Hope is my favourite. Empire's the best. It's my 4th favourite, but I say it's the 3rd best on a technical level. Return of the Jedi is probably the 4th best on a technical level. It's actually my 2nd favourite, Return of the Jedi. I don't know why, I just really like it. But spoilers. Spoilers here. Spoilers. Spoilers. Right, there you go. That's spoilers. I'm not really going to go into spoilers that much. Obviously, Han's death was done very well. I like the fact that Kylo Ren's face is half dark and half light. And then when the light disappears, that's when he kills Han Solo. That's fucking brilliant. Kylo Ren's character is fantastic. They didn't overdwell on the fact he's Han Solo's kid. Like, they could have made it more epic, but they didn't, and I like that they made it more subtle. I like Unkar Plutt's character, he's quite funny. The Raftar scene is a bit kind of like, okay. But, overall, fantastic. I wasn't going to go into spoilers that much, because I don't feel I need to. But there are so many. The lightsaber battle, obviously, is fantastic. The ending I love with. There is that weird helicopter shot that I didn't mind it, but it was when I saw it, I was like, why are you doing this? But I love that scene. The score works so well with it. Overall, I love this movie. I gave it 3.5 out of 4 stars, and I love it. It's my favourite film of this year. And yes, thank you guys for watching. Leave your thoughts on The Force Awakens below. I will be doing some theory videos, obviously, but this is my first video on this channel, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I hope to see you guys in some more of my video. I don't know what I'm talking about. Right, I'll see you later. May the Force be with you. And,